Hi everybody, Taigo speaking for Treeleaf. Hope you're fine. Happy New Year if I haven't said that to you, or if you didn't hear it so far. I'd like to carry on with the 10 ox herding pictures, particularly to work on the 4th picture. Now, if you remember it, the last picture was catching a glimpse of the ox. This time, it's catching the ox, getting hold of the bull, scything the beast, and wrestling. Traditionally, it might describe a stage of practice where you learn to come to terms with different depths of Kensho and so far. I'd like to offer a different reading. Now, we are in that picture getting closer to the core of practice. We are getting closer to sitting itself. We are practicing sitting. We are committing ourselves to sitting Zen, Zazen. But in the process of doing so, we struggle. We are fighting. Of course, we are not all able to sit properly due to our body, the lack of flexibility of our joints, our own karma. We might find the full lotus difficult, even half lotus, maybe the Burmese impossible. We might sit on a chair. Anyway, we experience sitting as a challenge. And that's what it feels like for many, many years, for some of us. And that's what the 4th picture tells me about. It tells me about the overdoing in the sitting. The hand represents the will, pulling the tail, wanting to control, wanting to tame is extra. Because in the process of doing so, we generate a tremendous amount of tension, of difficulties, of worries. We wrestle with, shall I sit this, sit like that, how shall I sit, and so forth. Now in next 2 or 3 videos I'll try to bring about maybe another approach to sitting. But what I'd like to say is that the main point of sitting is to drop the idea of sitting well. To drop the idea of one day I'm going to get it. I'm going to do it. Not to have a army-like approach to sitting. You see, this military style operates in many, many dojo and zendos in the world. You've got all these guys and women very, very stiff, incredibly mighty. And they're really proud of this. Oh, they've got guts. But for me, This is not Zen. Zen happens when you allow the sitting to be. So you're not wrestling with it anymore. You're not trying to do something different from your bones or your marrow or your flesh. You letting Zazen sit in you, allowing Zazen to blossom in your body-mind sitting. It's a complete different approach. Put it another way, one day I was having a conversation with a monk, a priest, and he said to me, he met once a very advanced monk, and the monk was praying night after night, night after night, God, and he had the feeling that God was behind a large, thick door, and he was pushing hard to reach out, to find God, to really get to God. And one day, one night, out of complete exhaustion, he gave up pushing. And the God appeared. I mean, the door opened. Because the door was only opening this way, not that way. Now this is a Christian picture, a Christian metaphor, but it's very valid here. Extremely valid. The point I want to make is the will you put into sitting is extra. Yes, we have to have a will to the truth, but it's a complete different nature. It's not the will of your habits, of your tensions, of your story or stories. It is the will to totally surrender. So guess what? Once you've got the tail of the ox in your hands, how will you get into the top of the ox? How would you be able to ride the beast? That's a good question. What surrender means? How can you make Zazen your own? Organically part of yourself. Dynamic process. How can you just learn to breathe gently, harmoniously, expand, grow, without rigidity? Now the next picture, we're getting even closer to there. But next time instead of carrying on with the pictures, with the 10 oxerding pictures, I'd like to talk about sitting. And I will presumably do 2 or 3 vids about how to sit. Not because I know how to sit. I don't. Because I don't know. Maybe I can share a few things with you, a few treasures. Take care. Have a wonderful life. This is a great new year.